There we go. So good evening. My name's Jo Bradley. For those of you who don't know me, I specialise in trance and physical mediumship. And every month we try and hold a Q&A just to give back to all of you. So if you've got any questions on your own development or things that you've come against and you don't understand, just ask. And if we can help you, we will. We've got the lovely Rickie, who has agreed to come on as our special guest this month. So I'm going to hand over to Rickie just so she can quickly introduce herself and so that you know what she does. So if you've got any questions for her, you'll then be able to ask. Thank you, Rickie.
Thank you very much, Jo. I'm so excited to be here today and honored and privileged and wow, I'm speechless. So my name is Rickie Avitan. I live in British Columbia, Canada, and I met Jo. Well, there is no coincidence. I joined her physical circle, I think more than a year ago, and I've just been going with Jo. So I have been a nurse for about 28, 29 years, and I've retired from nursing in a hospital setting in 2019. I worked in a capacity of clinician and an educator for the past over 20 years. I've always seen the unseen world forever, but I have never made any connection with it. And so as a little girl, when I see those skeletons, and I used to be so afraid, and I would cover myself with a blanket at night, and I would say, go away, go away, go away. And I said, go away for many, many, many years. I was born in Israel to a Jewish faith. And of course, in my culture, in my country, we do not speak about these things. And so, and I kept it to myself until the age of mid-40s, where I've had a massive neck injury. I was working in the intensive care unit in a hospital setting, and my right arm was completely paralyzed. And I said, well, I can't be a nurse anymore. And so I called the hypnotherapy to give me some pain management with my neck. And then I couldn't be hypnotized because I was very curious. And afterwards, I called the hypnotherapy school. And as I joined the school, the teacher said, you're a psychic medium. I said, no, I'm a nurse. I work in Richmond Hospital. And she says, you wait and see. And things began to unfold and open up. And so at about mid-40s, 2011, I joined everything to do with spirituality and spiritual and mediumship, and the world began to open. When I was a little girl, we were born in Israel. As many of you know, we faced many wars. My first war was 6-day war. I was 3 years old, and I've built a tree on a house on a tree where I would climb and run away from all the mess. And I remember that I would move into this, now I know it's an altered state, but at that time I had no idea. And I would move and I would have a conversation with heavenly being, literally in a circle. And I would be part of this conversation. I had no clue what it is, and that was my escape. And now I know that I was going into an altered state of consciousness very, very early in my life. I have embraced on this journey. And a couple of years back, in 2015 or 16, I went to Arthur Finley to join an intensive mediumship course. And it was James and Christine from Australia. She says, what would you like to do? And I said, well, I joined an intensive mediumship. I don't know, it was my first time there. And she says, I'll put you in a trance with James. I thought, okay, I didn't know what she's talking about. And things begin to unfold as within the classes and the course, I could put a terminology to my experiences and understanding to my experiences. Today, I retired from nursing in 2019, and I am working full-time as a medium, and I do trance mediumship. I see clients privately, groups readings, and public demonstrations. And I see I have as well continuously evolving. I do not believe that we ever arrive. I don't believe that. I believe that we continuously evolve and progress. But here we can be our best and be our best potentialities, unlimited, boundless, unlimited, boundless, if we know that we are that seed of God within us. So we are unlimited and boundless with how far and how much, if we are in the name of service, and if we are here to be the best, to serve others, then it's boundless, it's limitless. So
Thank you. That's
you.
lovely. Thank you, Rickie. So you've heard from Rickie as well. So if you've got any questions, start throwing them towards Sam, please. Have we got any in already or not, Sam?
Not yet. And just for those that turned up late, because I've got you on two screens, because we've got so many of you lovelies tonight, if you have got questions, either stick them in the little chat box. If you don't want to go on screen or anything, that's fine. I'll read your question out for you. Or just use the yellow hand, please, because I need you to bounce to the front, because if you're on page 2, I might miss you. Or if I'm looking at page 2 and you're on page 1, I might miss you. Whereas if you use the yellow hand, you'll be automatically pulled up to the front.
The little reactions box on the bottom bar of your computers. Took me about 3 months to work out where it was.
Yeah, and not the wavy hand or the thumbs up hand, the one that says raise hand. So not that, but that.
Cool. Okay. So what is next? We don't do personal readings, Shelley. Sorry, this isn't about personal readings on here, darling. It's about questions for your personal development. So maybe you've had an issue with meditating, for instance, or a problem with trance, or you've heard someone talk about something, you don't understand it. So we don't do personal readings in this group, sorry. You got any other questions, Shelley? You can unmute yourself, my darling, I can see you. Hello.
Hi. What is the easiest way to connect with the archangels?
Okay, well, do you know what? We have an angel practitioner that quite often comes on this Q&A. So she really would be the best person. But, you know, we say the best way to connect to anything on the other side is through meditation, building that quiet space within yourself, because we live in just such a noisy world that we just don't notice things. So you've got to be highly vigilant. But if you can train yourself to get to that quiet space in your mind really quickly, that's where all communication starts. There. Okay. I hope that answers your question. But with the archangels, look out for Sheila Kadir. I don't know when she's on.
No, she has said yes, but we haven't got a date set yet.
Right. So she will be back with us later in the year anyway. And she's amazing. So she'll be able to give you a lot of guidance on that.
Okay. So Marty's asked a question. There she is. Do you ever accidentally slip into trance, and can you prevent this in advance other than by shielding? So ask Rickie and Joe that one.
Yeah,
Rickie
sure.
first.
Do I go accidentally into trance? I have to be very careful. In my past, I used to, because I didn't know what it is. I would just sit there quietly and I'll drift away and I'll be in that circle of heavenly being. Today I teach trance, so I'm very much aware when I'm moving into an altered state. And so it is a state of cooperation and permission and consent. So when I sit every day in the power, every single day I do not miss, then I would move into an altered state of consciousness. But if I'm driving and doing my daily material things, then no. And the spirit intelligence, they know. But if there is something that I need to do or to know in advance, they will drop those nuggets. They will let me know. So the relationship that I have with my spirit friends, I call them my friends. They're the best friends anyone could ever have. And so I call them my dearest, dearest friends. If there is anything that I need to know, they drop the nuggets. And so the relationship that we have with our spirit friends that are working with us or with us, it's very close. So as you do trance mediumship and you're learning how to connect with your spirit team, you build that cooperation, you build this relationship, and it enables you to really receive and have this conversation. But do you go into a spontaneous trance? Not with training, but before training, I did. but not anymore. So with my student, I always tell them, make sure that you are having this conversation with your team. You don't want to go into trance when you're driving. Yes, because trance mediumship, trance itself is an altered state of consciousness when your brain wave is being subdued to a place to allow an external intelligence to blend in with you. So that external intelligence is not going to blend in with you when you're having a cup of coffee with your friends and just having a visit, because we live in a material world and we have to remember that. That is really important. We are here for this experience. Yeah, I hope it answered your question.
Yeah, that's lovely, Rickie. Do you have anything to add, Joe?
I think Rickie's covered most of it there.
Yeah.
Well done, Rickie.
Nice answer. Yeah, thank you, Rickie.
Yeah, and exactly the same answer as I'd give myself. It's a partnership. And the only time really that you see people dropping into a spontaneous trance is, like Rickie said, it's when you're untrained. You don't know what's going on. Or sometimes if you've got a young medium who maybe has picked up some sort of energy and is traveling around with an energy, what you would call an attachment. So they can very often do it. Interestingly, and some of you that have been in Ask the Psychics every month would have heard me say this to people before. When we sleepwalk, we're actually in an altered state. And sleepwalking, children that sleepwalk very often go on to become trance mediums. It's where your trance controls are actually practicing on you. That's why you never wake a walking child because it's dangerous. You wouldn't wake or shake a trance medium because it would be dangerous. So yeah, hope that answers the question. Who asked that?
Marty.
Okay, that'll answer Marty's question.
Yep, she's nodding. Yeah.
Good.
And we have Simon's put his little hand up. So I've just asked you to unmute, Simon. He's going to ask his own question.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hello, Simon.
Rickie. It's actually the opposite question to the one you just were asked. And my question is, if you're with a client and you need to go into trance quickly, how do you make it happen? Do you have a special technique, apart from just meditation and focus, where you can actually do something that gets you into that altered state quickly when you need it?
Yes. So I always ask the quickly question. So there is nothing quickly about trance. It's training. It's training of the mind. It's a very, very, my teacher, Simone Key, when I do my trance classes with her, she always say it's progressive and refined and it takes time. But when we sit one-on-one with the client, then that time I tell myself before I already prepared and I set the intention. So when my client come in, we sit on one-to-one, I'm already moved and my spirit team already here. So I would have a conversation with my client, very short, about the intention. And so we both have understanding, and I'll talk about what I'm going to be doing and what they should be expecting to see and to experience. And then I move into an altered state. It takes few moments, and I tell the client it's going to take few moments, and then I move into altered state. The spirit team knows what that person needs. So even though we say we do healing, but that person needs guidance. So they know. So that relationship that you have with the spirit team that already set up the intention. So again, I prepare before. I always prepare. I don't just show up. I never just show up. I prepare before, physically, mentally, spiritually, for the session. The client come in and I have a little conversation and I'm already in an altered state. And then I move in and do the session, which is wonderful. It's extremely, extremely amazing experience. Yeah, I hope it answered your question.
Yeah, it's quite important though, Simon, to also understand that when you're doing a trance connection, it's no different really to doing a mental mediumship connection, in the fact that when we sit to do a connection for someone, we're either saying, guide, can you bring forward a loved one for this person? Or can I please ask for the trance control to come forward and blend with me and speak to the person? It is all about the intention, really. So Rickie's right, but there is never, can you quickly? Trance isn't like that. Trance really does take practice. And He keeps moving around. Where are you? Wave at me, Simon. Oh, there you are. The pictures keep moving around. I'm getting a bit dizzy here looking at them. So there's nothing quick about it. And the development with trance takes a lot longer than, just a clairvoyant type of connection. But yeah, so it's all about the intention, really. And Rickie's right again, where she says, spirit know what the sitter needs from a connection. And that plays a big part in it as well.
Thank you. Right, we've got Nadia's put a question in the chat a while ago. Where is Nadia? Anyway, her question is, what types of meditation have you found to be most beneficial for you in your development? So,
For myself?
Yeah, do Rickie and then Joe again, yeah.
Okay. I have been doing different type of meditation. I have started my journey of meditation when I was 16. My sister in Israel took me to about 6-hour drive from my home, and it was the Guru Maharaji. I had no idea. I had no clue, to be honest with you. As I grew up and got some ideas about what I want when I grow up, so I joined IMIS, which is the founder, Jack Cornfield, and it's in the state. And so different teachers would come to Vancouver, and it was a 3-day silent retreat. Breath, so moving inwardly with the breath and becoming aware of your breath, becoming a silent observer. As I moved from there, I moved into a meditation 10-day retreat by S.N. Goenka. It is very intensive, and I've done that for about 10 years. I will do a silent retreat twice a year, always in December, and maybe 1 or 2 a year. And so that 10 days of silence, when you are in complete mental surgery, everything was blocked in sheets like that, and you sit in a dark room. And Goenka said, when you go into a surgical theater, you and the surgeon. So it's doing the surgery of the mind, and that really working with the sensation that arising within the body, sensation that connecting to the thoughts. And then from there, I moved into body meditation, which is the greater illumination and the sitting of purity. So, and I've done the loving kindness meditation. What do I do now? All of these meditation practices have enabled me, Rickie, as a person, to become aware of my own stuff, my own monkeys. And slowly, slowly, I let go of those big monkeys, big bag, big potatoes that was sitting on my back. And as those potatoes transformed and changed the way they were with me, and the way my relationship with my emotions, my relationship with people, as that began to change and to evolve, there was more of vacancy to allow spirituality into my life in such a profound way. Because when we are holding resentment and anger and all this very, very difficult emotion, and we hang on to them, it is not impossible, but harder to move into the stillness of the mind. And so the stillness of the mind that I can achieve when I sit now in the power, I sit in the power every single day. And so all of these practices have led me to this ability to sit in stillness, to sit and be able to just be here with God force and my spirit team. So I hope it answered your question. Loving kindness meditation, which is a beautiful practice of metta bhavana. And the metta bhavana is where you sit there and you give loving kindness to self, to your loved one, to someone you don't know, to the world. And it's that practice of love that emanates from you to all. And it really creates a tremendous amount of healing. The loving kindness meditation. There are a lot of those practices on YouTube that you can follow. Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Thank you, Rickie. Do you have anything to add, Joe?
Well, meditation is quite a personal journey, isn't it? All I say to people is you must be gut led on how you want to sit and use your meditation or your quiet time. Meditation, guided meditations, it's about self-development. Sitting in the power is about your psychic development and that psychic connection. So as long as you've got the two, and I always say, never leave something that's eating at you. If there's something in your ordinary life that's really bugging you, or you know that you haven't dealt with it, deal with it, because it will then hold back your psychic development, because they kind of mirror each other. So Rickie does obviously a lot of healing, trance healing you do, don't you?
Yes.
And so for you to have that type of meditation session makes perfect sense, because it's what would draw you in. Everybody would have a different practice or a different level of connection, depending on what their pathway is going to be as well. So, but guided meditation is about self-development. So get everything cleared out of your energy, and sitting in the power is about your psychic development. So do both. 5 minutes of each every day would be perfect.
Thank you, Jo. Shauna, would you like to unmute yourself, hon, and ask your question?
Thank you. In terms of when you were talking about falling into trance and training, what can you speak to your journeys of how long you sat in trance and how that progressed? And then when you're sitting with a client, do you control that, or do you just have your team leave when the session is complete?
Yes.
Yeah, generally your trance control would step back after they finished bringing forward whatever it is that they need. Every trance medium's journey is so completely different though. So I don't tend to do one-to-one trance sittings for people. It's not really my bag. In fact, I was the most reluctant trance medium for many, many years. And Sam would tell you this, because I've worked with Sam for a lot of years, and Terry, actually, who's here in the group. I used to have episodes because I was so reluctant to follow down the trance path. I didn't want to do trance. Trance to me was the most painful, most confusing state of mediumship that there ever was. Physical mediumship, easy for me. I would just sit in a cabinet and things would just occur. So maybe I was a little bit lazy. Maybe I was a bit scared of the trance. We're going back a good few years though now, and for many, many years it would be, no, I'm not doing trance. I'm not a trance medium. It doesn't draw me in. Somehow spirit draw you in. Now, of course, I do trance, a lot of trance, and I teach a lot of trance. But you have to be kind of guided, really. When we say that your trance control is very much a partner, they really are a partner to you. And so you have to have complete and utter trust in them. So when you are in an altered state, particularly if you're sitting there and it's just you and a client, A, you've got to have trust in your client that they're not going to do anything random, touch you, start hugging you. But B, the biggest trust, of course, is with your trance control. They will withdraw when they feel, right, you know, time is up now, we need to withdraw here. So does that kind of answer your question, Shauna?
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, Ruth, where's Ruth? There she is. I'm going to bring Terry into this one as well. We'll go through everyone though.
That'll please Terry.
Yeah, I know. I can see this her smiling face glaring at me.
Yeah.
Has there ever been an attack in trance? If so, how would you cope with the energies that aren't helpful?
I have actually witnessed this.
Rickie?
I will give that to Jo, and then I'll see if there is anything
I'll
else.
give it to
Jo,
Terry then.
yeah,
Would
that's
you like to unmute?
Really?
Terry's a
Well, I don't.
specialist in this subject, so with attacks, so that's why I brought her in.
Well, I don't do trance, but obviously I do deal with unwanted energies, and I have actually seen it. And as Jo would put it, your controller keeps you safe, and they will normally direct you to somebody, as far as I'm aware, to remove it. But you should always be protected and make sure personally, you're in a protected, safe place before you start doing any work like this anyway.
Yeah, can I just clarify the difference here though? Because was the question attacked while you are in trance?
The wording is, can you see it in the chat box, Joe?
No, I can't see.
Has there ever been an attack in trance?
Right, it's slightly different, Terry, this question to what we would normally do. For those of you who don't know, Terry and I will deal with possession cases. And generally what happens if there is a true possession, and they're very, very, very rare, so I don't want anybody to worry about it. Generally, whoever has got the entity with them will be taken down into a trance state. That's very different to actually being attacked when you've sat to do trance and then you've been attacked. I've only ever seen that happen once, and it was pretty nasty. There was a trance medium who was visiting my home, and he had said that he was very, very experienced, and I believe he was. And he was in this trance state when all of a sudden, and we felt this huge energy come in, this huge energy came in, picked him up by the throat and took him up to my ceiling. And there he was with his legs dangling. Even I was a little bit shocked, and I've seen most things, to be honest. Even I was a little bit shocked, and I had to take a bit of a step back before I could kind of deal with that. Not everything that we deal with is love and light. And so you have to have a really, really strong mind when you are doing trance or physical mediumship. And your words behind your thoughts are absolute paramount. So your voice is always going to be your biggest protection. Okay. Now, on this occasion, obviously, I called my own guides in. Unfortunately, one of my doorkeepers came in and kind of just grabbed this entity, and the poor man was dropped onto the floor. Nothing to do with us, but I think perhaps looking back on it, maybe he'd been a little bit lax. And also he was, his day job had a reflection on his mediumship, because his day job was much more about the arts on stage. So perhaps there was this kind of crossing over. That's all I'd say. Not a criticism, but it was a great learning curve for me. Generally, though, if you're just sitting to do trance and you've got good practices and you've got a strong mind and you've really spoken your intention, you've got a good connection going, no, you would be highly, highly protected in a trance state. Does that, who asked that question?
Ruth.
Okay, where is Ruth? Does that make sense to you, Ruth? Do you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, that makes sense.
Cool.
And it's very helpful to hear about the voice and the light and the voice, and so that helps to just connect a couple of things. Thank you.
Absolutely, you're welcome. Sorry, Terry, to cut in there. It was just the question was worded slightly different to if we were going into a possession case where someone is, appears to be perfectly normal and then will get taken into these trance-like states and controlled and contorted. So,
if you've got any questions on that, please ask Terry. Now we've identified her.
What do you mean about the?
Yeah, we're now. The next question is: in our normal 24/7 state, actually a form of trance state? That's from Benny. So is our normal 24/7 state actually a form of trance state? So is our conscious state
a consciousness,
an actual trance state?
I wouldn't say it's a trance state, but it's a normal, it's a different level of consciousness, which is our everyday level of consciousness that makes us be able to operate normal jobs, etc., etc. I don't know. What would you think, Rickie, to that?
I'm not sure that I understood the question correctly, Joe. Can you explain?
Can you repeat the question?
Is our normal 24/7 state actually a form of trance? I'm actually looking for Benny at the moment. Benny,
So
do you want to word that yourself?
I did word it myself.
I mean by speech. Yeah.
Sorry?
I'm looking for you on the screen.
Yeah, I'm there, but not on video. What I really meant was I'm trying to get a sort of sense of perspective of what trance is. And I'm wondering if in our normal, what we call a normal waking or sleeping state, actually quite a lot of us is not actually there. So is that a form of trance?
I understand.
And are we actually being controlled in a way that we don't realize?
I understand the question. Thank you. Trance mediumship, as the name states, trance mediumship. So when you in your awake state and you read a book and you 2 hours later you find yourself on the same page, you got into your car to get from point A to point B, and you got to point B and you don't even know how you got there. So that's a light state of trance that many of us naturally find ourselves there. Many of us, I think all of us. You go to the doctor and the doctor said, you have X, and he made the suggestions for you. It's almost like a form of accepting the suggestions. Now, when you move into, this is a light state of trance. When you move into a further state of trance, so you're light, intermediate, and advanced, or light, deep, deeper, and that moves along with your brain waves. I always remember it this way: B et de door, B beta et alpha, de theta, door delta. B, it's where we are here now. Et, like that subdued state. Theta is just the dream state before you go into a full sleep, and delta is sleep. So when your brain, it is all about brain waves. As your brain wave slows down, your awareness moves out of the way. So the further you're training the mind to subdue and move into the theta, into that subdued state of mind, that spirit friends can blend with the mind. Now, when we look about trance mediumship, which is, Joe is a physical medium, trance mediumship, they are not blending with your body because they don't have physical body. So trance mediumship is still under the category of mind to mind. So the mind of the spirit blend with your mind, and the more you subdued and able to move, like putting your mind on hold, the more their personality comes forward. Can anybody be a trance medium? Is a matter of, can anybody subdue their brain waves to be at that state? Yeah, it's a matter of training. Can anyone bring the spirit friends to be with them and come? It's up to you how far you want to go with it. And with trance mediumship, there's so many different forms. We're very much familiar with the philosophy and with the healing, but there is writing, there is music. There's so many other guidance, and under the category of healing, there's so many different ways that they work with us with healing. And so, which is different than the physical mediumship, is an external phenomena, which I'm learning with Joe. It's an external phenomena that everybody can see using a complete different ways, which is not mind to mind, but is external phenomena. So I hope I answered your question, Bini.
Yes, thank you very much. It's given me a better perspective on it. Thank you, Rickie.
Now, being a clinical hypnotherapist, some people are, I'm just going to give a very strong example. And some people are in a state of hypnosis at all times. And so if I have a client who is extremely anxious or extremely depressed, they are in a state of hypnosis, and that state of hypnosis put you in a state of suggestibility. That whatever you're hearing from the external, you're absorbing like a sponge, and it becomes almost like panic attacks. So if you go to a hypnotherapist in that hypersuggestibility state, we will put you in the delta state to break the cycle of hypersuggestibility and to bring you back into your normal state of mind. So you are not walking hypersuggestible just in your daily life and breaking that cycle. So a lot of us are walking hyper-suggestible because of what's happening. So if you're working with your own, put yourself into that stillness of the mind, like Joe said, guided meditation, whatever works for you to break that cycle of suggestibility. So this is like an immune system. You're building your immune system of protection. Yes, and so it's that shield of light, is that shield of love, it's that shield of God, that it is your protection, not just from spirit, but what we hear on the news, what we read in the paper, what we hear from friends. This is all creating in our mind a state of mind that it become overloaded. So we need to know how to offload what on that rump. So we can really be self, living from the true essence, but not from the suggestibility of society. Yes.
Thank you, Rickie.
Thank you, Rickie.
You. Sorry, we've got quite a few questions building up.
Sorry, we'll be a little bit quicker in our answers.
Yes.
Okay.
We get through all the questions. There's lots
Yes.
of questions, Rickie. We have to quicken up.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of build up going, but thank you for your question, Benny. Shauna quickly had an add-on. It's something to do with one of your answers, Joe, about the career in the arts coordinating with the attack. Do you want to just quickly say that better than I've probably said it, Shauna?
No, you got it. Joe, you
Got
had
it.
mentioned this man that
Yeah,
had
what I mean is your mindset of your physical life will have an impact on your work as a medium. So Rickie was a nurse, and a lot of her work connecting with the trance state is about healing in the trance state. And with this particular gentleman, his career was more to do with the arts on stage and this type of thing. So a mindset. So it's about it's just maybe a showmanship or something like this. So you have to be mindful.
I understand the connection, but not the why the arts makes them not mindful. I'm not clear on that.
I'm saying when you're on stage and you are acting showmanship, if you put on a show, you're putting on a show. So your mindset can be then a little bit about just allowing too much freedom from spirit to come in and then connect, so that they can be very over dramatic.
Yeah, so you could be in a slight trance when you're acting.
No, that's not what I mean at all. No,
Okay.
What I'm saying is your trance will, or any form of mediumship will have a bearing as to what you do in life. We're not chalk and cheese. Most of us aren't chalk and cheese. So I've always done a lot of teaching. When I did my normal day job before I became a full-time medium, I used to teach others back care and how to maneuver people safely and this type of thing. So I did a lot of teaching. Now as a medium, I do a lot of teaching. So it's always your physical life will reflect. So Rickie was a nurse for a long time. Now she's moved into being a mediumship. So what I'm saying is, if you've got someone who likes to act and be over, excitable on a stage, likes to create an illusion maybe on a stage, it can reflect in your mediumship.
Okay. I think I understand.
Yeah, do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't put it any other way, Shauna, sorry.
That's okay.
I can't find the words.
Meditate on that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shauna. Thank you. Charmaine has a question. Now, this probably is directly at Terry. Unmute, please, Terry.
Hi.
And Charmaine, hi, Charmaine. Charmaine would like to know, slightly off trance now for a little while, how do you get rid of an attachment?
Personally,
nice, simple, straightforward.
Personally, I just take them off. I mean, first of all, you need to make sure that you actually know that you have an attachment and that you're just not actually picking up somebody else's energies. And a lot of people don't. If you are super sensitive to other people's emotions, if you don't know your own state of the way you feel normally, you could feel or think that you have an attachment.
What if you know for a fact that you have?
Well, you can either get somebody to actually take it off for you, or you can cleanse, clear all your energy, take what I always call it a golden shower, which isn't probably the right way of putting it, but imagine yourself literally clearing everything that's on you, basically. So stand in the shower, imagine yourself being totally stripped off, and clear golden light water literally going into every orifice and cleansing and clearing everything away from you.
I've done that.
Have you
And
got
I've
an
been-
attachment, my lovely?
13 to 15 years, lost count how long, and I'm struggling.
Okay. Have you actually tried just very simply telling it to do one?
Yep.
Okay. Have you actually
I've tried rosaries round the clock, I've tried you name it.
Okay. Have you actually asked those on the other side to remove it for you?
Yep.
Okay. And it's still not?
Nope.
Okay. How are you? I'm going to be a little bit personal. How are you sure that you have an attachment? What does it do to you?
I don't really know if it's the right place to speak out loud since everybody else can hear, but I say use your imagination.
Okay.
And I don't know how much longer I can stay strong, but I'm trying my best, but I'm scared to speak out and ask for help as well. So, because I feel as if.
Okay, why don't you message us afterwards?
I was going to say, Charmaine, I will send you in a private chat box now Joe's email address, so this can be something discussed after this meeting.
Yeah, I don't really think it's a place to.
No, that's fine. We totally understand that. That's fine. We wouldn't want you to do that.
Yeah,
but sometimes I will make sure you get Joe's email address.
Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, and that's absolutely fine. We respect that. But it could relate actually to a situation in your life, and that's what's holding it to you.
Maybe I have been through a lot of situations in life where it's the same as what it does, makes me feel, if you get me.
Yeah.
But also I do see that side as well, which I don't like to admit and I don't like to. So it doesn't do me any favours.
Email address. Can you confirm you've got it, hon?
Yes, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just message me afterwards, that's fine. But a lot of attachments with some people when it's long term can be because it's an emotional problem or something you're living through in life and you haven't been able to deal with it, or you think you've dealt with it but actually you haven't dealt with it at all.
Yeah, the thing is, like,
if I forget about it, it will go away, and it doesn't.
Like what I've been through as a child, like I've actually counselled myself my full life. So like I've totally analysed, accepted, counselled everything right down to everything I've been through. So like I've totally left that behind.
Yeah.
This is why like I've tried everything.
Yeah. Sometimes somebody else looking in on a situation though can see it clearly for what it is. Sometimes when we're actually in a situation, we don't see the most obvious thing that's holding it to us. So it may just be that you're in this group today because you needed to ask for help with it.
Maybe. I've got a question. Like I thought, also as much as being interested in the spiritual side and everything, I also have like the utmost faith whatsoever. Like I have both. So like I was really, really horrified because in the Catholic religion as well, you feel as if God's house is a safe house.
Yeah.
But I don't want to admit this, but it actually never stopped in there in a chapel. And I didn't understand. And that was a hard thing for me to accept because it didn't stop in that place of all places.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a place of trust, isn't it?
Is that normal? Like,
yeah.
How's that possible?
Just speak to me afterwards about it. Okay, because I don't mean to be rude. I don't want to take up the time here.
Yeah, I know.
It's something that people are just on the outside of. Okay.
Right, okay, right. But thanks so much.
But speak to me later and I'll see what I can do.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Yeah, Charmaine's got your email address, Joe, so I've sent it to her.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Charmaine. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for being brave enough to put that question in the group though.
Yeah.
I know, I feel stupid. It takes so much to just even say it. Like,
No,
Do you know
But,
what? You know,
it's happening and I don't know what else to do. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, but do you know what? Sometimes when we're brave and we do something to really get some help, that's the first point of something being released as well. And it does take a lot. You know, it takes a lot of nerve to be able to speak, especially in a group like this.
I am
I need
trembling,
help with
like
this.
I'm shaking.
Yeah, but we all need help at times, so don't be fearful of that either.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much for just taking time to listen.
Yeah,
Thank you, Shemaine. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, we've got a question here now from Daniel. We've got your empath heads on. How do you protect yourself from picking up others' energies in busy places? Say, walking through a supermarket and getting 100 messages about 100 different people all at the same time. It gets very overwhelming.
Rickie, do you want to answer that one, love?
Yeah, sure. I can very much relate to it. Back in the days when I was untrained, that would happen. I would be in a fantastic mood and I would go into the mall or supermarket and I feel like I want to cry and I wouldn't have a clue what's going on. So it is when I begin to understand that this is spirit world, it was very exciting. So I would stand there and in my mind, I'm getting a message for this, getting a message for that. It was exciting. And as I moved on, I realized that's not a good way of living life. And so very much for self, you mentally tell yourself, I am not absorbing anything that doesn't belong to me without my permission. So I am closed. So when you step out of your home, you close yourself, or you can put a bubble around you. For me, mentally, just saying, I'm not absorbing anything. If I go back to the previous conversation where Joe said, it is imperative for you to know what belongs to you and what doesn't belong. So if you've gone on to the supermarket and you are in a good mood and all of a sudden you feel angry, it's not yours. Tell yourself, this is not mine. I'm leaving it there. But if we move into and become now in conversation with that anger, I am giving it power, and now I'm becoming that anger of somebody else. And then I go home with those feelings of anxieties and anger that has nothing to do with me. So number one is really through meditation, through self-awareness, become to know what is you, what is not you. Number two, now you know who you are, and then you move out, you go to outside or sitting in a party, and all of a sudden you feel feeling that was not there before. Tell yourself, make a check. Is it me? Is it something triggering me? If the answer is no, the second thing, tell yourself, this is not mine, and I choose to deflect it away from me. And by saying that, you're claiming your own power, your own inner power, and also you're telling your spirit team, and you may or may not be aware that they are there. This is not mine, and I'm not prepared to take it on. I don't want to. So you're familiar with what you are and what is not yours. So some people do that bubble of protection, a prayer before you leave the house. And so that awareness. But for me, Rickie, personally, I really got to know what's mine. And when I go and it's not mine, I said, this is not mine. Immediately, I just literally tell myself it's not mine. And the moment I say it's not mine, it's gone. The emotion, the thought, whatever it is, it's gone. It's just literally gone. So it's training. But I think a lot of us get caught in the excitement. Oh my God, I'm hearing, I'm seeing, I'm feeling. And it's really exciting in the beginning, but then it's not as exciting as anymore, because it's become you at every moment of your breathing. And that's you still in the material, living your life. Yeah, I hope it answered your question.
Thank you, Rickie. Anything to add, Joe or Joey?
Not really, no. I think Rickie's covered it all. It's always that intention and speaking out loud as well, adding the energy to that. I'm not an empath, and it's empaths that suffer with this problem. So I'm not an empath. Most people that know me know I'm not an empath. So yeah, but beautifully answered. Well done, Rickie.
Thank you. Colette's got a question. Colette wants to know, while giving readings, she has randomly started channeling. She has no control over what she was saying. How can she develop this so she can do it when she would like to? Where is Colette? I saw her a minute ago. Oh, there she is. She's gone down the corner. Do you want to unmute, Colette?
Hi.
Hi. Haven't you done a trance training with me?
I've done the trance, but the channeling, it was incredible.
I'm not quite sure what you mean. There's so many different terminologies between the different countries. So what do you mean by channeling?
I was giving a reading and all of a sudden I had no control over what was coming out of my mouth.
Okay.
I was actually tearing up and it was incredible.
Yeah. Okay. So what it means basically is that you're actually just working in an overshadowed state. So it's a light trance state. Now, you did your beginner's trance with me, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. So you gave them the green light. You haven't been sitting and practicing the trance development at all since you did the beginners, which is fine. That's not having a dig. What I'm saying is maybe they only needed you to do the beginners so that they could actually use you in an altered state, an overshadowed state while you're doing the readings. We have to remember everybody's journey with trance is different. Some, actually, the mediums are led there so that they have enough of an opening for trance to be used in that overshadowed state to enhance the connection through readings. Others will go on like Rickie and will do the trance healing in the wonderful state that she does it, which is amazing, I have to say. Others will go forward with trance, in our various ways. So maybe that's what your trance training was about. You've already got that development there. I think you should just say to Spirit, if you're happy about it, that was great. That was fabulous. Let's carry on doing that. Okay. Your development still will lie in your meditation and sitting in the power. But just verify. So I don't think you've had a pull to do any more trance, have you?
I'd like to, but I felt like I wasn't advancing and I haven't.
Then it may be that that's Spirit's way of actually saying, actually, you've got the tools that we need you to have with this altered state so we can do the overshadowing. Either way, if the message was enhanced, absolutely brilliant. That's what it's about. You've done, a huge thing for whoever you've connected to. So brilliant. So I wouldn't worry about, looking at how either you carry on and deepen your trance state with a normal kind of trance mediums development, or you say, that was marvelous. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. Now I understand why I did those few classes in trance.
Is there a way there, because it happens so infrequently, is there a way that I could have it? Or ask them to have?
Yeah, well, just at the beginning of your readings or before you even connect with the client, just say, by the way, if the trance control wants to step forward and overshadow me again as part of the reading, please do. Okay. You've given them then the green light, and you may well find that actually they might start doing it in every reading, or they might not. They will know what your client needs. Just give them the green light if you're happy with it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks, Colette. Daniel has just typed a message thanking everyone for their answers, and he's going to put into practice what you guys have advised him. Right, we're out of questions in the chat, so if anyone in the room wants to raise their hand and ask a question, Sylvester. I knew it.
I did have a question, actually.
I know, I always know. You've always got a question, darling.
Thank you. It might be slightly off the subject, but it was a question I had anyway. It was just I'd heard about the Akashic records, and I just wanted to clarify what it is and whether it's something that you as mediums, whether it be trance or mental, actually use.
Well, there's a lot of debate actually over these records. It's said that they house everything every thought, every feeling, every emotion of every person, every living thing. But then you get another medium who maybe accesses them, who says, oh, well, when you go back home to the spirit world, it's like a library where you sit and you learn, great wonders. And so there's kind of quite a lot of controversy over it, Sylvester. We can only ever be led by the work that we do with the guides, I suppose. And if a guide takes you to them or says, look, we're going to be accessing this, do you know what I mean? I can't really say too much about it because I don't have any memory of ever accessing them, but I don't have any memories of not. Maybe when we do connections as being mediums, there is an access that comes with that. Maybe when we're doing prediction work, I don't like prediction work really, because when you make a prediction, people then become impatient and they want to preempt everything. Do you know what I mean? They want to bring it about quicker than what it should do. But maybe that's where we get those predictions from. Maybe we're accessing the records there. Rickie, do you know anything about the records?
I have not studied the records, but I know that I am accessing files. I call them files. So we have our auric field, magnetic field, chakra that is internal and external to our body. And within that, everything is there. Every thought, action, thing from moment of birth and beyond. And I know that when I do mostly a one-to-one, because it's very, very personal, I can see from the moment of birth and the womb all the way to the time that the person sits with me. So, and we talk about it, and it's become like a story. And as we unfolding those records, you call them records, files, whatever it is, it just showed itself up. I can see your 1-year-old in the crib screaming, hungry, there's no one there. Yeah. And the only reason I'm doing it, this work, is because if there is a file that the person is not access or is not aware, and there is a stuckness. For instance, I had a lady who had great difficulty in building relationship. And as I moved into a very light altered state, I wasn't in deep trance, a light altered state, I could see when she had great difficulty latching into her mom's breast for breastfeeding. She just couldn't do it. There was a lot of challenging between mom and her at that time. All the way, she was newborn baby. And she said afterwards, when we finished, she says, my mom told me I've had great difficulty with the breastfeeding at the beginning of my right after birth. And so we can talk about the challenge that she's having with deepening relationship in her current life. So that gave her an access to where she wasn't able to see why, because she's a loving person, she's a wonderful, she doesn't really. And so we gave that access. So if you call it that Akashic file records, it is, I call them file. And do we have access to it? Yes, we have to be absolutely ethical with this work. So ethical. You never go with your friends and look at their files, look at it, because you can. And say, oh, you haven't gotten the permission. Yes. And maybe they are not ready to hear. So there is a big conversation that have to take place before we do this work, because some things shouldn't be revealed to that person. So
I think the records, aren't they also supposed to hold the true purpose of that soul's journey?
Yes.
Well, if they do, are we really supposed to know what that is? Because maybe that's something else that we're going to try and preempt and then actually not do the true purpose of our journey either. But tell you what, Sylvester, Sam and I will try and find someone and bring them on this Q&A that does do this type of work.
That would be very interesting.
And then I will expect 30 questions from you for them.
I'll have 35. He'll have more than 30.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we
But
are
he's got
trying
30
to
right
bring,
now.
yeah, I mean, each month we try to bring different guests, as you know, who
Yeah.
specialise in the different areas, because obviously all of you will be so diverse in your areas that you want to work in and your gifts. So, you know, if there's any other areas that you want us to look at, then we're always happy to seek out people that do the work. And
Yeah,
have
we
got a
have
good
actually
understanding so
got,
that you get good guidance.
yeah, we've got someone on the back burner. We did put the question out, and some of you lovely people come back and said regression. And we've actually found someone. We haven't secured their
We
booking
have
yet.
got a regressionist
But
coming.
one of the ladies here actually goes, I know someone who does that work, the lovely Leanne, who's our numerologist. And we're in the process of securing a date with her. So, yeah, anything that you want to know about, we'll do our best to find someone.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Thank
got
you.
another question. Thank you, both ladies, for that answer for Sylvester. Charmaine, yeah, Charmaine's asking, what is trance mediumship? She's never heard before and wants to know what the difference is between trance mediumship and what's deemed as normal mediumship.
Well, normal mediumship, we're in complete a normal state as I'm now, or as Rickie is now. Trance mediumship, it's about someone on spirit side, normally what we call your trance control. He will come in and blend with you. Your consciousness will move out and their consciousness comes in. So in essence, you've got someone using your body, your vocals, your energy field, everything about you, so that they temporarily have got a voice in order to be able to speak to whoever is sat before you. That's briefly. Trance, though, does take a lot of time to develop because we're control freaks. We're all control freaks. We don't want to give up use of our voice, do we? And if there's another voice speaking through, they have to use your mind and your vocals. So if you hear somebody else's words going through your mind and you disagree with them, what do we do as control freaks? We cause confliction. So it takes a long time to develop. But I do have quite an easy technique that I teach people. Has to be easy because I do trance and I'm a control freak. So there we go. But so briefly, yes. Does that answer the question for Charmaine?
Yeah, thank you. I was just wondering, I was just curious because I've never seen it done before. So does that person's voice come through you then?
Yeah, a voice would speak through you. Yeah, sometimes it's a guide, sometimes it's a loved one, depending on whatever the sitter requires.
Oh, can I ask also, how do you know if anything you hear ever comes from the good side or the bad side?
As in trance, you mean, voice?
Just in general. In general, how do you know which side that person's from it if you heard anything?
Well, I think the communication would speak for itself normally, Charmaine.
Right, I understand.
Yeah. I mean, most mediums are dealing with guides and loved ones. So, you know, if your sitter doesn't identify with the loved one that's come through, or you've got someone who's just coming through and being a bit of a joker or a troublemaker, then you know that you've connected to the wrong energy. But most mediums, if you've got good practice in place, you don't really get plagued by that type of thing. It's generally untrained mediums that will get the entities that will be a problem.
Yeah.
Or mediums that have got the wrong mindset, you know, maybe mediums that want to be stuck on a pedestal, want to be famous. You know, a lot of mediums think that being doing this type of work makes you a celebrity. There's no connection whatsoever between being a celebrity and being a medium. We're all healers, actually. Mediums are healers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we are.
I get you. So basically, I get told when somebody that picked up on a reading with me ages ago, that was on one of these Zooms, that basically somebody for spirit is telling me that you hear all the time, but you doubt it. But
you're gonna have to slow down a little bit. I'm struggling with your Scottish accent. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Basically, I get told somebody picked up on and they said somebody from spirit here is telling me that you hear all the time, but you doubt it, which is true.
Okay.
Because obviously, like when you hear things, you kind of brush it off and try and block it out because you don't know where it's coming from because it's the unknown, because I'm untrained in that type of thing.
Right. Well, I'm clairaudient anyway, so I've heard spirit speak in my ear since I was 4 years old. So to me, that's quite a normal state of affairs. But
Right.
yeah. You just have to
Right.
start trusting yourself.
Yeah, I was just curious, that was all, because obviously I kept pushing it away.
Yeah,
But,
get some training, Charmaine.
It's only on random, and it could be silly things like, this sounds great, but it could be daft things on considering what I'm doing that day, or I could be at the shop and it could be get such and such, and I'm like, no, pure arguing with it, and it's, no, you need this. And if I ignore it and I go back home and sure as anything I needed it, do you know what I mean? Or something will happen to show me that I need to go back shop and get it.
Okay, well, this
I'm
might
like,
be why you've got an attachment. If you're an untrained medium.
Say that again, sorry?
Maybe why you've got an attachment. If you're an untrained medium.
See, I wouldn't have thought, like, in a million years I was anything like that. I thought I was
you
just...
have to slow down. I'm not catching you real...
Sorry,
love.
sorry about that. I wouldn't have thought in a million years I was capable of doing anything like that. My mum and my daughter have the gift, but my mum told me under no circumstances did I have such a thing. Not that I want it.
Well,
I'm
maybe
just
your
saying
mother's
in
wrong.
general.
Maybe your mother's wrong. Maybe you do have the gift. You'll only know that until you explore. You know, sit in a class and explore it and see what happens.
Right.
Been
Okay.
brought here for a reason tonight, Charmaine.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe you haven't got an attachment at all. Maybe it's a guide that's following you around trying to get your attention.
No, I don't think a guide would make me feel these type of things that I'm suffering during a day-to-day basis.
Okay, well, maybe you're an empath. You just don't know how to control it. You need to explore it and find out.
Right. Maybe start with you. Ha.
No, she does run a development circle, Charmaine.
I have a development
email her,
group.
you can ask her about it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
All right, good luck though, Charmaine.
Thank you. Sorry for all the questions.
No, that's fine, Charmaine. Just, we've only got 15 minutes
for.
left. Yeah. And Rickie,
Thank you.
Rickie, can you stick your email address in the chat box, please? People are asking for it.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you very much, hon. And JC, would you like to unmute and ask your question, please?
Thank you. I would like to ask how the mediums feel that trance work is evolving. And why I ask that is because a lot of the philosophical things that we read, like the Maurice Boganel stuff from that era, is in our past. Our world has evolved. And the philosophical side of things, the way we think is changing these days and what have you. Rather than just keep repeating that sort of stuff, is it changing in a way like Rickie is using it for healing, more in-depth healing? Are we leaving the philosophy as is as such, not wiping it out altogether, but you know, is it coming? Because there's no from what I hear of other trance mediums as well, it's all sort of regurgitated the philosophy. And sitting and listening to you talk here, it could possibly, do you agree, or do you think this, that it is being given to you to use in completely different ways than it was, say, 100 years ago?
Yeah, it's a good question, JC. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Nice to see you again.
Thank you.
Do you know what? I actually had a conversation with someone the other day about the philosophy, and I agree with you. You know, we did used to have all these wonderful words that used to come through, and used to almost kind of make people sit back and think. You know, that's more about the philosophy, wasn't it, really? Coming out with a statement and people going, oh, I hadn't thought of it like that. Someone said to me the other day, do you think it's because there is so much controversy in the world at the moment? Okay. And actually, it didn't feel wrong. It kind of resonated with me. If you look at the, you know, what the world has gone through in the last 2 years, just that alone, and families have divided, people have divided, differing opinions. And I think with the philosophy during the last couple of years anyway, I think it would be pretty hard for some people to either be used for that type of philosophy, or for people to even find it at an acceptable level that they could even take that into their psyche and kind of start to work with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
Because
I do. I think that in the spiritual movement, we've lost a lot of our fantastic speakers as well,
we have,
which
they've
brought it forwards in their own way, as well as within the psychic, the trance states. This is why I'm wondering whether it's going to be more like Rickie's handling of it, Terry's handling of it. You've sat in it to develop that step further forwards. It's
I do
the
think that
physical
probably
mediumship.
Yeah, I do think trance is being moved much more into a healing capacity at the moment. I think it kind of goes through phases, doesn't it? The turn of the century, or just before the turn of the century, trance was very much used in the seance rooms for physical. Then we move on to people like Barbanel, who, all this wonderful philosophy would come through. And now it's being moved again. And I think it's more about healing. It's about healing people, bringing people back together. And definitely a reconnection with the loved ones on the other side, which is why I think most people's trance is now about that reconnection with loved ones. Because the problem is, you get a group of people that go to a demonstration and there's a trance medium and it's going to be about philosophy, and you've got half the room here in conflict with the other half of the room, and then you've got this guide who comes through and gives it from spirit side. Everybody could either scatter, or they could end up fighting, or there's a big hoo-ha. It's just incredible, isn't it, how it's kind of done a complete U-turn.
We're not really interested in the philosophy of it. That's dying out. Unfortunately, it is dying out, but because we want a quick fix these days, and the message from a loved one in a trance state might just be that fix people are looking for, which is unfortunate. I do think that.
I think there's a lot of people, though, a lot of trance mediums also, that are very concerned about the type of questions that would get asked in the current time of a guide that talks philosophy. I think they would be very worried in the answers that might come forward.
Especially.
So I think that's probably playing a part of the mindset.
I suppose it is easier for the medium to bring through a loved one in the trance state, which is a beautiful thing in itself. But
to be honest, it's harder to bring through a loved one. But at the moment, it's
but the answers might come back a little bit easier.
You get exactly where I'm coming from, don't you, Jason?
I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
Can I just say something?
Sorry.
That's all right, don't worry. Go for it, Rickie.
When you're looking at philosophy, ask the question, what do you mean by philosophy? And so when we are bringing true trance information, the spirit, the communicator, they come in and they give us. So you are that spirit, and they are spirit, and I'm spirit. So when we look at philosophy, what philosophy have we lost? What are we not connected to? There's lots of philosophies out there. And so
I think it's connected to fear, though, Rickie. That's what we're talking about. It's more connected to fear.
Connected to fear.
It is.
So when we look at philosophy, when we look at the thing that we have lost, as I believe, this is all Rickie believe, that we have moved away from trust and faith and the relationship, the intimate relationship that we have with the Great Spirit. So
I think
if we are looking at it as a philosophy, how do, as human race, come back to that great force that we have moved away, and we have given our power to the government, to this, to that, but actually that philosophy is within you. So when you're connecting to that philosophy, when you're connecting to that God force within you, you find it. And so when those spirits coming in and speaking, giving the philosophy, yesterday I was doing a demonstration on Friday, and the information they give, it's not in my mind, it's not part of my system, and it was remarkable. And so that is an absolute pure philosophy that they come to tell us, here, you've got the power. You are that God soldier. You have that soul that you're given, but we have removed ourselves and have a distance.
I think the problem is, and I think the point that Jace is trying to make also, is that the philosophy might be remarkable to one of your sitters, but to another it could be great confliction, because there is so much confliction in the world, and you're finding that more and more mediums just won't allow themselves to be used. And also you've got to remember, Rickie, that you know, you meet a lot of trance mediums as well, and I certainly do. There are a lot of trance mediums out there. We live in a fast world. They're trying to rush their development, and actually when they go into a trance state, they're not really in a true trance state. They hear philosophy, they don't agree with it, their own mind interferes, so you never get the true philosophy that would actually come through. So yeah, there's a great difference between Barbanel, when, you know, he was developing, where it's post-war and people are looking for that healing element and wisdom, and now we've just come through a pandemic, but now we've got Russia and maybe, you know, a possibility of a war or whatever. So there's a huge difference.
But also when that philosophy comes, there is a presence.
Yeah.
And that vibration.
Can I just we've only got 10 minutes left.
Okay.
I've got some other people waiting for some questions. I think,
Sorry.
Joe, no. I think, Joe, we've just found our first debate subject when we start the debate club.
Yes, and maybe
Thank you,
JC.
We'll be asking Rickie and JC back to help on that.
I think JC should be involved in that, actually, because JC comes on to our society.
So I'm really sorry to interject, but it was becoming a bit more of a debate, and we are going to be setting up.
You know, you started confliction here, JC.
Yeah.
How dare you?
And I've got a couple of people and 10 minutes.
Everybody.
But JC, don't you worry. I know how to hunt you down, and we'll be contacting you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Shauna, would you like to ask your question, please?
Sure. Just quickly, based on the last 2 years, you're saying, you know, there's so much change in the world. I have this little theory that more spirits are coming to help us, but I'm also new to this world. So in your experience, do you think that's happening, that more and more people are opening up so we can be healers to everyone else?
Rickie, do you want to go first on that one?
I kind of missed the question. I was looking at the question in the chat. Sorry about that.
Were you reading questions?
Yeah, I was reading. So are you saying that if we choose, are we choosing?
I'm asking if you think more and more people are opening up channels, becoming mediums, or more spirits are coming to help us because of this time in the world, so that we can have more healers and helpers.
I think the change of frequency and vibration of Earth, and it's measured. It's nothing that I'm making up. It's measured. So our vibration, it's quickened. So that's opening up more too. But I also think that this era and time, people are less following, but I believe that the individuality is being developed. So more people speaking out, more people expressing themselves. I'm not taking oppression anymore. So there is more of that happening. And with that, a change in frequency, because as we evolving consciously, consciousness doesn't live in the brain, as we talked about it. Consciously, we are able to access other vibration, other frequencies, and to merge with them. So the world of spirit wants to help us to come out from our own, I don't have another word, from our own, subdued mind, and to evolve into the greatness that we are already. So everything else, it's not just this or that or that. There is so many layers of evolvement and change that contributing to a lot of our quickening of the mind,
Yeah.
increasing in consciousness and awareness, and a personal development. So you see what's happening around the world, right?
Yeah.
A group of people from everywhere beginning to march down with a flag, this flag, that flag. I was watching the news. So many anti this, anti this. Well, it didn't used to be before. You've been told and you did, and it's not happening anymore. So it's a wonderful time of chaos. But through this chaos time, there will come a time where people will be able and evolving into that greatness. But
you know what? We look at the isolation. Everyone had to self-isolate. You know, everyone had to stay in their homes, didn't they? And of course, when I look at the broader spectrum of that, most governments, you know, and the media, all this fear, stay in your home, don't breathe anybody else's energy in, you know, you're going to get this virus. And I'm not playing down a virus, but what it did do was, for a lot of people, did the opposite to maybe what the media wanted and expected. So a lot of people, rather than becoming really fearful and scared to death of putting their head out the window, let alone outside the front door, it brought out this inner strength. And as soon as it brought out this inner strength, they suddenly started to feel all these vibrations that they weren't aware of before. Rickie's right. Everything's vibrating a lot higher now. And so, yes, I do think it's not maybe that people are learning to become mediums. People have had their energy triggered, and so their mediumship and their psychic abilities have then surfaced. So, yeah, but I agree with everything Rickie said.
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Shauna. Thank you. Right, this will be our final question for tonight, guys, and it's from Vincent. And Vincent's like, as a trance medium, do you get to pick who your trance controller speaks? Do you get to, what pick? I'll start again. I'm sorry, I'm full of cold.
Is Vincent on screen?
Yeah, as a trance medium, do you get to pick what your trance controller speaks about? Here he is. He's just popped up. And do you have a say in what occurs when they are talking? Sorry, I read that so badly, Vincent. My head is in the clouds.
Vincent is one of my students. So, Vincent, what do you think the answer to that is?
I think maybe no.
Correct.
But
because if your trance control starts to speak about something that you want them to speak about, there's confliction. You're interfering. You're not allowing them to free flow through you. It's not about what you want them to talk about, because we're just the instrument. We're just lending them, you know, our voice, our mind, our physicality, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So, and our mediumship is never given to us for us. If we want help, or we need a trance reading, for instance, and we go to someone else, we can gain that personal help through meditation and sitting in the power. But when we're actually sitting and being used as a channel, it's not about us. It's about whoever it is that needs the help before us.
Because I'm just mindful of the fact of, imagine your controller says something completely opposite to whatever.
I know, it's hard, isn't it?
Like,
you've got to learn not to interfere.
Goes the complete opposite of your paradigm, and then you come out of trance and the person's looking at you crying, like, and I'm like, bro, I didn't know where that came from.
Well, you shouldn't know. You shouldn't know, because you should be moving your consciousness aside. I mean, obviously, you've only just started your trance journey. But this is how we actually also know that it is truly another individual that speaks through you, using your vocals. Because if they've got a completely different point of view on a particular subject, and you do not get involved, you stay well out of that communication, and you just allow the guide or communicator to say what it is, that in itself gives the trance medium a lot of comfort. Because one of the biggest things we have as trance mediums, are they real? I'll take no notice. That's just me. That's me putting on a voice. And that's the biggest thing we have as trance mediums. Sam will tell you, Terry will tell you, for a long, long time, I go take no notice of that. That, you know, I'm not in a trance. That's just me making it up, because we find great difficulty in accepting. So if you get someone who comes through, speaks on a subject that is completely in conflict confliction with your own views on that subject, and you learn not to interfere because you've moved your consciousness way over here, then that in itself gives you really good proof that there's a completely separate entity that's working with you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, my love.
Thank you, Vincent, for your question. Right, well, that's us done for this month. So thank you all. Sylvester, you'll be happy to know that I've posted about Akashic Records already on Ask the Psychics, and already getting feedback on people that might know. So watch this space. I've already done that. No stopping me and a keyboard, I tell you. The next Ask the Psychics date for your diary is the 26th of March. And we have the lovely Marion Damper Jeans coming on for that. So that's physical mediumship, more to the forefront. So the flip side of this coin.
Marion is probably the leading PM in the world.
She came last year, didn't she? She was very, very successful. Lots of people come to listen to her. Joe works with her. I can actually say I've had the honour of working with her.
You have worked with her now, haven't you? When we did the retreat, she came and was a special guest and talked for a day there. So that was brilliant. Do you know what? I need to give Rickie the biggest thank you. Rickie, absolutely amazing. I know you've given an awful lot of really brilliant guidance to people here today. Thank you so much. I will say I've experienced Rickie's gift, receiving healing through the trance state. And it's not just about trance healing as in laying on hands. Her guide will actually speak you through what a problem is and why. So if any of you really need that help, get in contact with her because she is awesome.
Yeah, Rickie did put her email address because some people were asking. So if you didn't grab it quickly out the chat box.
Grab it quick.
We close the session down. And I think that's it. We thank Terry for her help on tonight as well. She's laughing. I think also, just to quickly plug, Terry and Joe do have a lovely retreat happening in June for those of you that are interested in attachments and things like that. And
it's called Tackling the Dark Side. It's called Tackling the Dark Side. We only have one twin room left. It's being held in Somerset. I've called it Tackling the Dark Side. It's really about knowing the darker energies that we as mediums and psychics come into contact with, particularly when you have clients that come towards you and, you know, maybe they've got an attachment or maybe they just don't understand the dark energies. Maybe they're having night terrors. Maybe they're fully possessed. So the retreat is a 3-night retreat. It's about giving you the tools so that you can identify what's going on. I grade them 1, 2, and 3. So grade 1 really are just a very simple attachments that we can easily get rid of. Vortexes in the homes, the doorways, that type of thing. So I'm having great pleasure in teaching with Terry. Give us a wave, Terry, in June. And so there is one twin room left. Okay, so if anybody wants.
And Rickie, do you have anything coming up that people might like to know about?
I have got a 2-hour workshop next weekend, I think. If you are interested in physical mediumship, it's 2-hour workshop just to tell you how to sit, how to set it up, having the correct sitters, blah, 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 blah. So there's that guidance. And I'm not sure what else I've got coming up. I haven't got my diary because I'm so super cool and organised.
Rickie, do you have anything coming up?
I have a trance course coming up, Deepen Your Trance. And I just really wanted to say thank you. Thank you for being here. And Joe, thank you for inviting me. And it's been a beautiful journey being with you. This is like almost 2 years down there.
I know, ditto.
Yeah, it's been really,
pleasure.
Totally amazing journey. This is just an exploration.
Yeah.
And
I have already told Rickie that I will be nabbing her. I'm going to hijack her and she will be coming to the UK to teach at a retreat.
Oh, thank you.
In that aspect. So she's already agreed to that. We've got the lovely Colette as well. She's also just started to tutor. So she's not getting out of it either. She's being grabbed. And I think I'm coming over to New York, aren't I, to open up your centre for you, which would be great.
Amazing.
Doors open.
It's amazing.
So there's lots going on.
continue to explore.
You have an awful lot of stuff, don't you, shamanic?
Yeah, I have lots of stuff going on. Nothing to sort of do with what we're talking about tonight. But yeah, if you're interested in shamanic stuff or more of the psychic stuff, divination and things like that, I'm easy to find. Look at that surname. Just pop that surname in and I'll pop up. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's mainly shamanic stuff and a bit of witch phoning and things like that.
Yeah, and do remember we can always guide you to other people that are good in their fields, because we work with a lot of people across the world, and of course most tutors teach online, so we can always help you access other areas that you're looking at. All right, so if you need any help or advice, just drop us a line. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much for a lovely evening. Didn't it go quick?
Always.
Thank you for participating. And I see you there, Miguel.
I'm just going to turn the recording off.